So, I got to ask about the governor using the COVID money for the staff salaries.
Oh, sure.
So the core issue with that was that for so many years, the governor's office staff was that what she was spending on office salaries was way in excess of the budget allocation. And so using a combination of memoranda with state agencies and then the COVID money for 2020, and then after she was no longer using the COVID money, using these assessments of state agencies. So her office was spending $900,000 to $1 million more than the budget allocation.
Yeah.
And so my question is, if you're elected governor, do you plan to keep your office expenses within that general fund allocation? Or do you think you might also be using the memoranda with agencies or assessments to exceed that?
In the past, we have not quibbled with the salary sharing agreements because I believe it's 28D of the Iowa Code makes an allowance for that. The reason that using the COVID funds was inappropriate for it was because they had no support. I mean, they literally altered a spreadsheet where it said percent of budget not covered and changed it to say percent of time devoted to COVID. Those two expressions of words are not related to each other. That's the main issue there. The other piece of it, you're asking me about auditing decisions. The other pieces of those things are management decisions. And while we had reviewed some of the agreements under 28D, we haven't quibbled with them because they're management decisions.
But in your management of the governor's office, do you foresee using similar agreements with
I don't have
agencies?
anything to say other than what I did just say. Okay. I mean, I've not held that job. Her past agreements under 28D were things that we reviewed that we did not end up having findings on because they're management decisions.
So recently, Governor Reynolds and Zach Lane and the whole Republican crew came to Clarke County and held an event, and probably the biggest theme revolving you was that it's an act in being a moderate, right? That similar to Virginia, the idea is to pretend to be a moderate, get in, and then insert radical liberal policies.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? What's your rebuttal to that?
Well, if they can convince Iowans of that, then they can continue to pick Iowans' pockets. $20 million for Workday that wasn't appropriate, hundreds of thousands of dollars that should have come out of the pockets of insiders themselves to settle an open records request, millions of dollars that should have come out of the pockets of insiders themselves to settle sexual harassment claims against government insiders and specifically an ally and longtime friend of Governor Reynolds. The list goes on. If they can convince people of their lies, then they can continue to pick their pocket. I'm running as myself. I disagree with the Democratic Party on some things. I say so. You'll notice that the places that they name are places that have total one-party control. I'm running for the idea of Iowa, which is usually a place where you admit the broken clock is right twice a day and you find a way forward to work together. What they don't want to admit is that in working with a Republican legislature, in working with a Republican Senate, there's only so much that a governor can do. What I would want to do is break up their little party, return checks and balances and the separation of powers to government so that the decisions that we have to do are actually common sense again. They're trying to scare people by talking about states where it's one-party control, when I agree with them that one-party control is a bad idea.
Can you respond to the Republican criticism that you're doing all these town halls on time when you should be doing your job as state auditor?
It was Chuck Grassley that taught me that going to every county every year was a good idea, and I tend to agree with that Chuck Grassley. I also would say if there's any job in the state that should go to every county every year, the state auditor doesn't just have voters there, but also clients, because we audit in every county almost every year.
But these are campaign events. I guess they were talking about this campaign tour this summer. Are you still working full-time as auditor during the time when you're also doing these town halls?
7 days a week.
Anyone else have any other questions?
What has been reaction from all your tours and everybody? What's it like getting out and seeing everybody?
It's fun to talk to folks. I think we've got a lot of opportunities in front of us to bring people together around the state. I think people in every political stripe have been pretty frustrated with where things are right now. And they've seen me work. 2 terms as state auditor, 7 years as the chief public corruption prosecutor. I've got a record of standing up for change that you can trust.
Awesome. Perfect.
Good, thank you.
All right.